Facebook.
Hello, Facebook.
Hello, Facebook world.
Hey, Facebook.
And we are going to start our episode in 2 seconds. So, ready, fellas? I'm gonna start going live. I'm gonna start recording in 2 seconds. Ready?
Yes, sir.
5, 4, 3, 2. Hello and welcome to the Freemasons podcast. I am your host, Right Worshipful Brother George Mudry, and with me tonight,
Worshipful Brother Joe.
Worshipful Brother Ken.
and we are here. We have Skyping in Worshipful Brother John Deere, and we're going to be talking. Tonight's topic is going to be Freemasonry, and I think I'm going to title it LGBTQ. I think overall, that pretty much covers all bases. We're going to be talking about the subject and people's experiences as well, and particularly Worshipful Brother John Deere. But first, we got some housekeeping items to quickly do. The freemasonspodcast.com, as well as our Facebook page and community page, Patreon, and Discord. Discord was fun today.
Yeah, not a lot of work getting done in anybody's company
Thanks
today.
for wishing me a happy 50th birthday.
I did wish you a happy 50th
Son
birthday.
of a-
We have some likes. We're just going to quickly go through them, and I think I left off here. Vincenti Ramos, Daniel Gia. I'm sorry if I butcher your name.
When you
Gia Lendella, Glenn Willits, Angel Houston, Corey Burke, Brittany Christian, Joe Zanigua. I again apologize ahead of time. And Peter Lang. We had a couple females. That's quite interesting. We have females on here.
It's cool.
That's awesome to see that they're listening in. So with all those new likes, let's toast them, brothers. Joe, why don't you lead it?
Right hand to arms.
Arms.
Ready.
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire can fire. Fire on. Together, brothers.
Vivat. Vivat. Vivat.
And we'll cover, I think we're going to cover some other stuff. But first thing we're going to cover is Washington rules for Freemasons in life and in lodge. For any of you who are watching, we do this every single time. And today's, we're nearing the end. We're almost done with this. So
What are we going to do after that?
we'll find something. Actually, I think we're done.
No.
We did them all.
Thought we had one left.
Are we any
No.
more civilized than
We
we were when
are
we started?
done.
Questionable.
We will do, we're on chapter 6. We'll do chapter 6. We'll do these ones, and we'll do these in order. No, this is the rules of civility in original order. So we've already done them all.
We did all
Yeah.
those.
We're done.
I feel civilized.
Congratulations, brothers.
We're done. So we'll skip over it, and we'll come up with something new the next segment.
Making good men better.
It's even better because then we
One
get into our
podcast
main
at a
hot
time.
topic today. And one of the things I want to play is actually something I posted on my Facebook today.
Before we do,
Mhm.
may I propose a
You
toast?
most certainly can.
Do we? Can we recharge and align the
Recharge and
cannons?
align the cannon.
I believe it's important. Otherwise, I would not interrupt the proceedings for such a thing.
Absolutely.
How
Nail
dare
me.
you interrupt my show?
You'll see.
Oh.
Oh, well,
A little backsplash on that.
well done. Like a true pro.
What's your brother, John? You toasting with us over there?
I had my coffee.
All right.
That works.
That'll work.
That works perfect.
What I'd like to do, brothers, is propose a toast to the birthday of my good friend and co-host,
Aww.
Worshipful Brother Joe Zanino. Happy
Thank
birthday,
you.
my brother.
Thank you very much.
Very nice.
With that,
Contrary to popular belief, I am not 50 years old.
he is under 50.
I'm 47.
Ken, you proposed it. You lead it.
All right, brethren, right hand to arms.
Arms.
Ready,
Ready.
Ready.
aim,
Aim.
fire, good fire, fire all. Together, brothers. Vivat, vivat, vivat. Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you, brother.
We got one more before the end of it. But we'll do that later.
I'm getting some reverb.
Yeah, I think we're getting some reverb through the Skype, actually. I think John's listening in as well.
That happens.
All right, so I want to lead this off with something that I posted on Facebook earlier this morning. And I think this kind of plays very well into what we're going to be talking about. And I want to do this first. And it's quick. It's a quick,
This weekend, I went to
it's a quick 50 second segment of the Ellen DeGeneres show. and we all know that she is lesbian. So, and this is something that she said, and on this subject, in general, I really liked what she had to say, and I want to play it for everyone.
This weekend, I went to Dallas for the Cowboys game, and during the game, they showed a shot of George and me laughing together, and people were upset. They thought, why is a gay Hollywood liberal sitting next to a conservative Republican president? Didn't even notice I'm holding the brand new iPhone 11, and I was aware that I was going to be surrounded with people from very different views and beliefs, and I'm not talking about politics. I was rooting for the Packers, and get this, everybody in the Cowboys suite was rooting for the Cowboys. And so I had to hide my cheese hat in Portia's purse. Here's the thing. I'm friends with George Bush. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of people who don't share the same beliefs that I have. We're all different, and I think that we've forgotten that that's okay, that we're all different. Just because I don't agree with someone on everything doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with them. When I say be kind to one another, I don't mean only the people that think the same way that you do. I mean be kind to everyone. Doesn't matter.
Preach.
And I like that
Excellent
segment.
point.
It's something that I seen today, and I liked it, and I think it ties right into what we're going to be talking about. So the first thing we'll start off is that we do not speak for any grand jurisdiction. Freemasonry as a whole, there are many grand lodges, not many, there's a few grand lodges that are vehemently opposed to what we're about to talk about, Connecticut not being one of them. I know of two particular grand lodges, and I'm not going to call out those grand lodges because I think that's un-Masonic to do, but they are opposed to gay men being Freemasons. But here in Connecticut, and it says at least in our ritual, it says that it's not the outer qualities of a man, but the inner that matter. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And I just want to throw that out there.
So we should probably talk a little bit about how this topic even came up for the podcast. We had gotten a question from one of our listeners asking if gay men were allowed to join Freemasonry.
Yes.
And he had been listening to the podcast, and we had piqued his interest, and he wanted to pursue it, but didn't know if he was allowed to. And like you said, we don't speak for every grand jurisdiction, nor do we want to, but in Connecticut specifically, it's a non-issue. And our guest tonight, Worshipful Brother John Deere, is a past master. He is a recipient of the Pierpont Edwards Award in bronze, and also a recipient of the Daniel Carter Beard Award, which is given by the Masonic Scouters Association, I believe it is.
Wow.
And he's the man that raised me. On the night when I became a Master Mason, he was in the East. So I respect the man quite a bit. And clearly I have no issue with it whatsoever. If not for him, I might not be a Master Mason today. And he's always been a great mentor to me. So just wanted to throw that in there.
And Worshipful Brother John Deere, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. And I want to actually say thank you, because by you bringing Joe into the craft and raising him, I got one hell of a friend.
Wow, I was waiting for you to take a shot at me.
No shot.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that one was.
No, that was not a shot.
Thank you.
No. You are a very good friend to me, and a brother as well as Ken, and I have you to thank for it.
My pleasure.
So, Worshipful Brother John, why don't we get a little bit into you? First thing I'm going to ask you is about your Masonic career. So let's quickly do that.
Okay.
What got you started? What got you involved? We'll start with that.
Okay, what got me involved was a high school buddy of mine. And we were buddies through high school. He was 6'4" and I was 5'7". And people started calling us the Moose and the Squirrel, as in Rocky and Bullwinkle.
We have a situation like that here on the broadcast.
We were famous for doing everything together. And I became a scoutmaster of a Boy Scout troop. Tom was my assistant. The scouters all called us Rocky and Bullwinkle, or Moose for short. And I was working in Norwalk for Division of United Technologies. And Tom's dad was to be the up-and-coming master of a lodge in Norwalk. And one day, Tom just announced to me, he said, I'm going to join my dad's lodge out in Norwalk. And I think it'd be cool if you joined with me. And like I said, we do everything together. So I said, sure, why not? And we're now celebrating 42 years with the fraternity.
Wow.
And that's basically how I got involved.
Very cool. That's awesome. How long? 43 years? 45 years?
42.
42.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a long time.
So, Worshipful Brother, what's kept you engaged for those 42 years? What keeps you coming back and keeps you active?
I have to say it's the camaraderie, being, accepted by my brothers, and the fellowship that goes with that.
Very cool. Yeah, it definitely is one of, I think Freemasonry is one of the stronger organizations that accepts and protects its own and really cares about each other. So I have a question. Were you gay prior to becoming a Freemason, or did it happen progressively?
We're born gay.
No, I know that. I didn't know.
So
That is true. That is true. I guess what I'm asking is, when did you openly inform everybody? Was it something that was prior to lodge or after lodge, or not after lodge, but during lodge?
Well, I've never been one to talk about myself, and I've always believed, and to this day, we don't make friends by coming out. We make friends one at a time.
True.
And, if someone respects me, whether it's in lodge or anywhere else, I mean, besides being a Mason for 42 years, I've got 30 years as a volunteer firefighter.
Wow.
And it's really the same.
Right.
I don't run around with a pink triangle on my forehead. But every year, my volunteer fire company in Oxford has a big dinner. They call it Ladies' Night. And I bring my spouse. So there's no question, really, and it's never been brought up. And I think, again, because I'm respected, I'm a past deputy chief. I'm still an active volunteer at the ripe old age of to be 71 next week. I think I'm respected for that, and my sexuality or my sexual preference, whatever you want to call it, is not an issue,
right?
Because of I Am Me. It's like that song from the P.T. Barnum movie. I am me. Yeah. And I think when people find out that I'm gay by either, meeting my spouse or whatever, I've been pretty much accepted, I would say.
And I've actually got a little bit of a funny story for that, because when I was one of the first times that I had met Worshipful Brother Deer's spouse, I believe I was junior warden. And we were doing a wives and widows luncheon or brunch. Right. And people brought their spouses, and he brought his spouse. And we were handing out white roses to all the ladies. And I'm the guy, and the worshipful master said, "Hey, go hand out the roses." Right. I'm going around the room, and I see Worshipful Brother John and his spouse, and I'm like, "Oh crap, how do I handle this?" Because I just
give a rose to both.
I kind of locked up and said, "No, what do I do here?" So his spouse is a great guy. I've met him, and
who wants a rose?
I even said that I
give them both. I'd give them both a rose.
I walked up to his spouse and had the rose in my hand, and I'm like, "I've got one for you," and he's like, "Good, because I'm going to take it." and he completely, I think he could tell that I just, it wasn't like an ignorance type of thing. It was just like, wow, I've never had to come across this situation. Right. And like I shrunk up immediately.
Yeah,
like,
right.
And it just a couple moments, he just like, no, I'm going to take it. Good, because I want one. And it just like disarmed everything, and it was great. And,
that's awesome.
And I've hung out with John and his spouse multiple times, and really, really good guy. A lot of fun people. But yeah, it was a non-issue. Yeah. Like he's brought him around, and he's introduces him as his spouse, and he's part of the group too. He's part of the family.
And honestly, I don't think in any, well, I know for a fact that there's no ever asking of what your sexual preference is on any of our petitions. And I don't, it's not even something that would even be, like, it doesn't matter.
Nobody's
it's
business.
not, it doesn't matter in the lives.
The only question that's asked is they do ask you if you're married, but it doesn't ask you what.
In the state of Connecticut, it is legal to be
correct,
gay and married.
Right. So they don't ask you if your spouse is a man, a woman, or whatever the case.
Still doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
Really does not matter. So, so I have a couple. I have actually one tough guy. I'm sorry, I keep coughing. I do have one question. Have you, Worship Brother John, met or had any issues with Masons over the fact that you are openly gay?
Not really. What I will say to non-Masons listening who wonder about this, I'm going to say flat out that every lodge is different. There's an environment.
Right.
And when I moved up in the valley 30 some odd years ago, I was already a life member of my mother lodge, and I was a life member. They made me a life member over in Easton. And I decided, well, look, I'm moving into a new town, and the local lodge was having a table lodge. And that's the perfect opportunity to meet the brothers of the lodge and feel out, if you feel like you want to belong.
Right.
And I went to the table lodge. I introduced myself. No one spoke to me the whole evening. And when it was all over, the master came up and asked me if I wanted to affiliate.
Wow.
I mean, can you guess that I did not?
Right. Wow.
And I'm raised, I've been in charge of the fire police here in Norwalk, Naugatuck rather, for quite a while. And I've actually raised and mentored a couple of my members from the fire police. And one of them I've known for 20 years. And it was through me that they felt comfortable asking questions about the fraternity.
Right.
And, they wanted to be raised in the local lodge, and I'm an organist, so, I played for their degrees. And, when I raised them, I wore my formal chief's uniform, and I raised them, with the white hat on. And, but I've never felt welcome in that lodge.
Right.
And
I think
just totally the opposite when I met the brother who Joe alluded to, the guy who got me involved in Easton. I was at a professional conference, and he worked for another division of UTC, which was Sikorsky. And he saw my ring during the break, and he said to me, well, what lodge are you with? And I said, well, I'm with St. John 6 out in Norwalk, where I work. And he said, and where do you live? And at that time I lived in Bridgeport. And he said, well, I told him I was the organist. I'm a past master, and since then I've been the organist at the lodge. And he said, we could really use an organist. We've got a degree coming up. We've got an EA. It's going to be an inspection night. We don't have an organist. And I'll tell you what, he said, if you would pack your tux and come to my house before the degree, he said, my wife will cook us dinner, we'll have a few drinks, we'll get into our tuxes, and we'll go over, I'll introduce you, and maybe you can play for the degree. And you know, that man was so kind and so genuine. I went over to that lodge, and I found that so were the rest of them. Mostly back then, they were old farmers and stuff, but they were all so friendly, completely opposite of the lodge that I encountered in my present hometown. And, you know, I just said, well, heck, they meet once a month. I can stop here. You know, I started going and playing the organ. And by the end of, I think, the second year, they announced that they were making me a life member of that lodge because they appreciated, you know, me playing the organ. Everyone says it brings an extra dimension to a degree and to meetings and things. So we have two different ends of the spectrum in two lodges here in Connecticut, probably within a 30-minute drive from each other.
So I have a question.
One of the fellows who I raised in the lodge here, I brought him down to Easton as a guest. And on the drive home, he said to me, you know, he said, I've never felt so welcome in a Masonic lodge, including my own. He said, I could stand in front of the altar for the whole meeting and no one would say boo to me. But here, he said, I walked in the door and everybody was just my friend instantly.
Right.
So the point I'm getting at is that for those of you who asked the question, am I going to be accepted if I'm gay? Every lodge is different. And not only is that a concern, you know, but it's a concern. Or is that where you want to be?
Right.
Do you feel a warm environment when you walk in the door? So Joe had asked me to talk about this, so I'll go ahead. The fellow that I mentioned who actually brought me into the Easton Lodge, to give you a background, he's an old past master of the lodge. He was the chairman of the Republican Town Committee. And I guess he figured out that I was gay, and it's never been broached. But when the news broke that Connecticut was allowing gay marriage, he came up to me after a meeting and he said, I want you to know that I'm a justice of the peace here in town. And if you want to get married, he says, I'd be proud to perform that ceremony.
Oh, this is where you did it in lodge.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so
this is awesome.
So I was married to my spouse in the lodge room.
Wow.
By a past master. And we had a reception. We packed the hall downstairs. We had 60 people. And
that's incredible.
A lot of them were brothers from the lodge. You know, they were all invited to come. And it was just kind of a wonderful thing.
That's
really
incredible.
cool.
That's an incredible
acceptance.
story.
Yeah.
And
by a Republican, no less.
volumes of the difference between lodges.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Worship Brother John. Number one, are you still looking to affiliate with a lodge? Because we need an organist up here, and I can guarantee you that my lodge here will make you at least 10 to 15 years younger.
No politicking.
I thought you guys had an organist up there.
No, Morningstar does not have an organist.
George is in Seymour.
There's a couple brothers what we've called an organ before, but we're not going to discuss.
That's a different kind of
That's a different kind of
organ
discussion.
that we're talking about.
No, but we we do not have an organist.
We're currently lacking. We have an organist on our officers list right now, but we haven't seen the two guys.
I think Brother Joe knows this, and at my dear sweet old age, the cataracts have been creeping up and my night vision is impaired. And therefore, I've actually been trying to cut back on anything that has to do with night driving. And it's to the point where there's a brother, another past master from Easton, who lives in Oxford. In fact, we just had our meeting Wednesday night, and he met me over at the Oxford Firehouse. I leave my car there, and he drives me down the lodge and back. So I'm not taking on any additional responsibilities that involve night driving, unless somebody wants to pick me up at the house and take me to lodge and bring me back.
Well, that is the beauty of being a Freemason, because we're always willing to give brothers rides to lodge. Right? That's never been a problem.
And now that Joe's a member of our lodge, I can save on gas.
There you go. You can carpool.
I'll be bringing some gas. You'll have plenty of gas. But if your lodge doesn't have an organist, go see a degree, go see even just a stated where they have an organist. It makes a huge difference. It just adds to the solemnity of it. It just adds to the overall experience.
Absolutely,
so worth it.
It's a beautiful thing.
So, Worship Brother John, have you ever been in a situation where your brothers needed to defend you over this, the fact that you're gay? Has there ever been like a situation where the craft has defended you in that situation? And I'm always looking for, like, the reason why I'm asking this question, because I'm always looking to try to enforce the fact that brethren protect one another and we take care of one another. And that's what we're all about. So I'm just curious if there's ever been a story where you've had a brother that needed to slap the hell out of somebody. Figuratively speaking. Or maybe not figuratively. I mean,
not really, and I guess again, it's maybe my nature that I pretty much get along with everybody,
right?
And so I've never really had any confrontational issues. Like I said, the one lodge that I chose not to affiliate with is because I just sensed that I wasn't a good fit.
And while we're on that subject, let me just say that your situation that you're discussing right now about a lodge that really didn't say anything to you when you arrived at their table lodge, those are the lodges that will fall because you're not giving a very warm welcome to those people. Those are the lodges that really struggle because guests don't come. People, and now, because this same situation you're talking about could be attributed to an entered apprentice who comes to the door and goes through his degrees, and then nobody says a word to him the next meeting. You're always going to feel like an outsider. And this transcends across Blue Lodge, any type of appending body, because I've seen it happen, and it's especially difficult in the Knights Templar.
Click form everywhere.
Clicks form. These Knights Templar have been Knights Templar in this particular commandery for an X amount of time. And now the new guy comes in, takes his degrees, and what do they tell him? Oh, help us break down all the stuff. And you never see him again.
And you wonder why your membership is declining.
Right. So your story was actually perfect for that. Worship Brother Greg Schultz joined on.
Oh,
so
good.
He just signed on. So.
He's a hooligan.
Raymond Collette, who was on this Joe Characters Investigation Committee, that needs to be investigated.
I believe the leader of that investigation committee was one Right Worshipful Brother, past District Deputy Raymond Collette.
Really?
Along with
collusion.
Along with Ty Bird.
Ty Bird. I haven't seen him in a long time.
I haven't seen him.
Along with Worshipful Brother Darren Sohavy, who you probably know from Templar.
Yes,
it's a rather distinguished investigating committee.
Very distinguished.
I think we can say he's safe.
Yeah,
I think
they were like, we need to send it the real guy.
He's got red hair. We have to bring in the big guns.
I have a story about my investigation.
Sure, we love stories.
42 years ago, understand, okay? Everybody in that lodge was old enough to be my father. for sure. And I had 3 elderly brothers that met me in the lodge room for my investigation. And I just, like any other interview, you naturally have a case of the jitters and kind of, are they going to like me or what? Mm-hmm. And they started out all very stern. And one of them said, hopefully that'll stop.
That's all right. It's Papa George calling in.
I got jokes.
And one of them said, well, there's something we need to tell you. Mm-hmm. We understand, and I was really concerned. It was like something dire they were going to tell me. Mm. And they said, well, it's about your application. He said, we understand you're a Catholic. Do you know that that the Catholic Church forbids you to be a Mason? And we're required to tell you that. And I've had, oh, thank God. So I said, my last time in the Catholic Church is when I graduated from 8th grade. So
I think we're good.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
Oh, that's funny. You guys, any other questions for Worship Brother John before we sign off? Because we're going to take our break.
No, I have no other questions, but I just want to give him a heartfelt thank you for everything he's done for our lodge and for the craft.
And before the break, I'd like to issue another toast, if I might. Swear to God,
can
I do that?
Pulling the rug right out from underneath. I'm like Aladdin.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yank the rug out. It's twice.
You know exactly what I'm doing.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead, Ken.
Go to it.
No.
All right.
Fire away.
Worshipful Brother John.
Yes.
I hear that your birthday is next week.
Mm-hmm.
October 17th, yes.
Well,
same as my father's.
In that case, I would be remiss if I did not toast you for your birthday next week, Worshipful Brother John Deere.
And I would actually like to add to that toast, I want to thank you for calling in and being on and being part of the podcast for tonight. Thank you very much. So
very much
telling your story.
Telling your story. Amazing. So
I appreciate it, brothers, and I'm glad I could maybe bring some light to an otherwise non-spoken subject.
We appreciate that.
Now, you do realize that the next time we have this conversation, it needs to be up here at the podcast, and you can do shots with us, ginger ale toasts.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get you a ride.
And we'll get you a ride.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
And we'd like to have you up here. So, to Worshipful Brother John Deere, brethren, right hand to arms.
To arms.
Ready. Aim. Fire. Good fire. Fire all. Together, brothers.
Vivat, vivat, vivat. Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much, brothers.
All right, Worshipful Brother, we're going to go take our break, so we're going to let you go, and we'll have a conversation again.
Okay.
And you have a good night, brother.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. And we are still live. We're still recording, but
what a cool story!
What a cool freaking story!
Great guy.
I'm glad you didn't tell me that one ahead of time.
I really, really badly wanted to bust your balls tonight, but I really can't because you snagged Worshipful Brother John as a guest, and he was awesome. He was awesome, and I was really heartfelt on just tearing your ass up and down today. However, brother Peter Daigle, if you're still watching,
his birth,
you'll have another opportunity. I'm sure.
Where's that bag? Right there, brother Peter. Brother Peter Daigle, if you're watching still, which I think you are, because you just wrote, "Thank you for joining the podcast today." He was one of the best ever guests. Damn right he was.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can see these. I'm actually going to walk up to the camera so you guys can check them out. But
make sure you hold it for a second so it autofocus.
Brother Peter Daigle is having a charity event, and I got some stuff. I got some jokes for him.
So we've got a few pins. George stepped away from the mic, so we've got, I believe, a Stargate-themed pin.
Oh, that's awesome!
It's actually really cool. It almost has a steampunk feel to it as well.
And the challenge coin.
We've got a
Justice challenge.
the Justice Challenge coin, and I believe there's also a Captain America shield pin you may have already shown.
I haven't showed the Captain America one, but Brother Peter Daigle, that is for you.
Mention that one.
No, it's fine.
Okay. So very good, very cool
Seems
items.
apropos.
All from Upon the Point, correct?
Everything is from Upon the Point. Yes, Upon the Point.
Wow,
Brother Dennis Burns out of Texas makes his own lapel pins and makes his own challenge coins.
I like that.
And if you want to, here, check them all out, Ken. If you want to check him out, he's got some good stuff. But those are the pins that Brother Dennis Burns basically gave to me as a gift, and I'd be obliged to pass them along to Brother Peter Daigle for his charity that he's going to be doing. So passing them along.
This steampunk one is awesome. I might just pocket it right now. That's
it's going to Peter Daigle, so you better not.
We might just
Enjoy,
have to
Brother
hop
Peter.
on uponthepoint.com and order some.
But Brother Peter Daigle, our podcast artiste, I know he's big into comic books and stuff, so I'm actually giving that is your pen, brother, the Captain America shield.
Don't give that one away.
Yeah,
That's
the only
all
thing, again, and I have to apologize to Brother Peter Daigle.
What'd you do?
He asked me if I would donate something to it. I said, absolutely, without a doubt. He's like, all right, here. He's like, here's the address. Send it to him. Who forgot?
You didn't do it, did you?
This guy, I forgot. So then,
well, you are a
couple
busy
weeks
man.
ago, a couple weeks ago, he's like,
Honest mistake.
hey, you send that stuff out? Shit! No, I didn't. I was like, I'll send it out now. What stuff?
And that was a couple weeks ago. And
Hold on. The beginning of this week, he's like, send them out yet? Oh, come on! So wait, I just keep failing, but I do have them. They're in a bag here, and I am going to send them out as soon as possible. But I just wanted Brother Peter Daigle know that I have them. I've had this bag in my pocket and amongst my persons for 2 days now since we last talked.
Still warm.
To make damn sure I send them out to him. And he's doing a charity thing. If you want to plug that on here, Brother Peter Daigle, on in the messages here and thing, because we're going to take our break, and I have us here at the podcast have an exclusive phone conversation that took place, I'd say earlier today.
in anticipation of Sunday's episode.
In anticipation of Sunday's episode of the Most Worshipful Grand Master, Ancient Free and Accepted Masons of the Grand Lodge of the State of Connecticut will be up here recording with us. And Joe will not be here, and I can guarantee you that Jack will not be here.
So it's going to be you and me and the Grand Master? I think we could swing that.
I'm going to call in.
And?
Right Worshipful Mike Adams.
Ah,
Nice.
beautiful.
Cool.
So
He'll be our handler.
Here's going to – I call him our podcast police, all right?
Yeah, he's our handler.
But Ken's going to slide over here, so Ken will be now taking your position of busting my balls.
God help me.
And then Right Worshipful Mike Adams will be the voice of reason. Because again, his boss is here, so he really can't.
Maybe I'll Skype in from the car because I'll be driving back to Ohio.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No, I'm blocking all Skype calls because
Puppet George might try to call in.
I think he's coming to Ohio with me. I think he's making the road trip with me. The puppet.
Is he really?
I think he is.
That's why I'm blocking the phone calls.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Brother Peter Daigle, it's a Halloween party on October 26th in Hudson, New Hampshire. We're doing a coat drive for the homeless and raffling items to raise funds for our brothers that were hit hard by from Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Awesome. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to keep the live going, but we're going to take a quick break, and then we will be back. And we'll continue on this subject of LGBTQ and Freemasonry.
I think you got them all.
I think I got it. My mouth is very dry. I need more beer.
Sip of water.
All right. We'll be back.
Bye.
I don't know. I don't know, Joe.
Live feed is still on.
So I think the puppet needs to go on the road trip with me.
I think the puppet needs to go on the road trip, and
along the way.
I actually think that
maybe
for our live listeners, we should play the commercial because I can do it and they can hear it.
All right. Well,
So if you're watching live,
I want to hear it again.
if you guys are watching live, do you want to hear the Puppet George?
Yeah.
I need like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
We need some yeses.
I need a hell yeah. Like a couple hell yeahs. And I will play the phone conversation I had with Papa George.
Watch me not trip over the cable this time. Very delicately.
$30 says Ken kicks the freaking camera off.
Maybe on the way back. Also, I think she's lost that loving feeling.
You're still trying to push this narrative, aren't you?
Oh, man.
I don't think he's got to push that hard.
I think it's really the only duet that the two of us can do and get away with. Everything else, my voice cracks on.
You don't want to do Almost Paradise from Footloose?
Nope, can't do it.
So Mike Reno, Ann Wilson?
Can't do it.
No? Okay.
Soren gave us a hell yes.
I haven't seen Footloose enough times.
I'm only seeing a one hell yes here.
That's it? Just one?
That's pretty pathetic, guys.
Come on. Where are the Schultz brothers?
Raymond Collette went, woo!
We'll count that as a
We'll
yes.
count that as a yes.
Two, because
That's two. It's not enough. We got 6 people watching right now. I need at least 5. You need at least 5 hell yeses for a Papa George commercial live.
Error loading I'm getting on my phone.
For what?
The Facebook Live.
Well, we're live.
Okay.
It's still running.
Sorry, don't yell at me.
Shut up, Joe. It's still running.
Yes, don't
Trying to help.
Don't jinx it.
I thought you said don't ginger it. That's
Don't
it.
do
You
that
guys
either.
have beaten me down enough.
That's even worse than jinxing it.
Right. You guys have beaten me down enough that's what's in my head.
That was awesome. That was good. That was a good interview. I'm glad he called in. That was awesome.
Peter did. So we've got 3 yeses so far.
We got 3. Peter Daigle said
Peter
hell
did.
yes.
Oh, yes. We're counting.
I need 2 more, damn it. We got Scott Tomlinson. Another hell yes. One
There
more.
you go.
One more hell yes, and I will play the Puppet George commercial.
No, that was
A
the
rare treat.
work for Brother John. That was a nice job getting him in there.
I
He
forgot
did
that
also.
I had met him. That he was part of that degree team, man.
He
was
dresses
there.
as
He was there when I
Wolfgang
was your
Amadeus
DD.
Mozart.
Yeah.
He was there when I was your DD.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't even get a chance to ask him about busting your balls.
That degree team is crazy good too. Those guys are like.
So how
Yeah.
bad did you yell at Joe?
I
when he
missed
was
yours. I wasn't available for yours, but I
You
usually
got.
the,
Was this a hell yes? Is this the last hell
I'm
yes?
warden for that.
All right. Soren, your vote doesn't count as 2. That's all right. I'll do it because we only got 5 listeners now. So here we go.
All right.
Puppet George.
Open it up.
Enjoy, everyone. Give us some feedback after you see it. After you listen to it. Excuse me.
We need
Freemasons Podcast.
Hey, it's me. I heard the Grand Master's up there today. How come I didn't get invited? I got jokes and I got questions. Let me come. Let me come.
Puppet George.
I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
You're not coming. You are banned from being up here when the Grand Master is up here.
No, I got jokes.
Puppet
I
George.
got jokes.
Goodbye, Puppet George.
No.
Freemasons Podcast.
Hi. Can I speak to the Grand Master, please?
Who's this?
Puppet Greg.
Puppet George, is this you?
No.
That's Puppet George. Goodbye.
Who's Puppet George? This is Puppet Greg.
Goodbye, Puppet George.
How'd you know it was me?
Because it's you. What'd you guys think? How'd we do?
There was some feedback.
Give us some feedback.
Literally thought of that.
I'm not gonna lie.
As I was walking up the stairs, I'm like, that would be funny.
Yeah. It was a good one.
Look at me contributing tonight.
Look at you.
Look at me.
Look at me.
Got some
not
makeup
getting
to do.
over the camera. Look at that.
I'm getting it all in now because I won't be here Sunday.
All right.
I got to tell you, I think she's lost it.
Has she lost it?
We're going live. We're
dude.
going live, so there's no
Brother, I think she's lost it.
that love and feeling. Yes, we're not. We're gonna go live.
No, she's lost it,
I
man.
lost it.
Peter Daigle says
Lost
Puppet
it.
Crank.
It's
He loved it. All right, we're gonna go live. We're gonna get back on the subject. So
George is censoring us.
I'm not censoring you.
Next time.
Next time. All right, ready? 5-4. We are back. Yeah, I went 5-4. We're back. And we had Worship Brother John Deere call in and Skype in with us, and we had a good conversation about the subject of gay men in Freemasonry. And I think it's pretty much freaking Ken ripping all the
sorry, I
wires
had
out
to
of-
kill a fruit fly.
I'm gonna kill the podcast. I'll start calling you Jack.
But so I think this pretty much, and this isn't, again, we're talking about that. Thank God.
Yeah,
The
there was
buzzing.
a little bit of noise.
Buzzing.
We'll get a better cable, and that will eliminate
Absolutely.
the noise.
Yeah, the cables. It's a gas station aux cord. So
Yep.
we'll get it everywhere.
Yep.
But back on the subject about gay men and being Freemasons and everything. There are many, even the United Grand Lodge of England is an advocate for, it doesn't matter. And again, it's the internal qualities and not the external of a man. And again, on our petition forms, there is absolutely no question about your sexual preference. And realistically, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. It's, we're a fraternity that makes good men better.
Mm-hmm.
And there's plenty of people that are gay, and they're no different than those that are heterosexual. There's no difference.
My personal
again,
opinion is it is the internal, not the external.
Yeah, and again, I mean, listen, you heard the story of Worship Brother John Deere. He was a fireman and saved. I'm sure saved many people's lives in fires, and it was so.
Not only that, he's also a Vietnam veteran. He didn't bring that up, but he's a Vietnam veteran.
So what difference does it make? It really doesn't make a damn difference. It realistically has no impact on Freemasonry at all.
Mm-hmm.
And, so when I go on, like YouTube, and again, I drive for a living. And as a matter of fact, there was a tractor trailer that was flipped over on 95, and Rafferty made it a point to say that he was in Southern Connecticut with no traffic while I was sitting in Northern 95 traffic for 4 hours straight because watching YouTube or listening to YouTube. I don't watch it. I want to be clear about that. I put it in my headphones and I listen to it. And the trashing that they do. And it's so funny because you have one part of it of YouTube videos that say, oh, Freemasonry is anti-gay and everything. And then you have the other half of it that's, well, they're heathens because they allow gays.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you got to pick.
Can't have it both ways.
So which is it? Like,
right.
What are you trying to do?
Well, we're evil no matter what, apparently. So.
And honestly, and again, on a future podcast, I'm going to touch this subject. But there was actually a story on Freemason for Dummies, and it is a true story because it was on I think it was NBC or CBS or something, that somebody tried throwing a Molotov cocktail into the window of a Masonic lodge.
Grand Lodge of New York, I believe.
Grand Lodge of New York, which is a very old building, and there's other lodges that have actually been caught on fire. There's one in
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Aurora,
there was
Illinois.
also one, and I don't know. There's never, and I want to be clear about this. There's no definitive that it was arson or anybody attacked, but it's just interesting how
it's weird that
there's 4 incidences that have happened within the last several days, and then you have. The Milwaukee thing about lodges being attacked and everything.
Right.
And I think it's directly, this fruit fly's battling me too. You have the Milwaukee thing where the guy was going to go in and light up everybody in a Masonic lodge. And it is, in my opinion, a direct link to those who bash us on YouTube.
Yeah.
And say bad about our craft, because when you sit there and say we're irreligious libertines or whatever you want to call us, we're anti-Catholic or anti-Christian, you get church people now attacking us and leaving leaflets all over our front doors because that's what you're telling them that we are. So when you say we're anti-gay, we have gay people upset with the craft. When you say we're pro-gay, you have church people after the craft because now we're whatever.
And it's like Worship Brother John was saying, like every lodge is different, and in the same way that every Grand Lodge is different. The United Grand Lodge of England actually allows post-op trans men to be members now, to bring them in, in alignment with British law. And there was a whole bunch of, hoopla about that. And it's like, well, you look, there are some Grand Lodges in some countries that are completely the opposite.
Right.
So it's,
and in the United States, you have again, here in the United States, there's no overhead United Grand Lodge. Every state regulates itself.
Yep.
So you have southern states, or you have northern states, you have western states, you have states that have their own set of rules and regulations about what is allowed and what's not allowed. Again, we talked about Prince Hall.
Right.
Connecticut was the very first Grand Lodge to recognize Prince Hall. You have other lodges that don't recognize Prince Hall.
And that is their right.
It is their
right, wrong, or indifferent. That is their right.
Again, it's a separation of beliefs. And again, I'm not forcing our beliefs, on this podcast, or I do not speak for the Grand Lodge. I want to be adamantly clear about that. I do not speak for the Grand Lodge of the state of Connecticut, nor do any of us. But our views may not be in line with other Grand Lodges. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form bashing them or their views. They just have a different view. But I most certainly am not going to attend a lodge in my own personal experience. I'm not going to attend a lodge or take part in something that is negative toward a certain group of people, whether it be black, gay, whatever the case may be, just because I don't believe in that.
And when you asked Worshipful Brother Deer before, was he ever in a situation where another brother had to come to his defense? I think the way that we show our support is through those silent actions of, I am not going to attend a certain lodge in a certain state.
It's exactly what I was
recognize it. It's
exactly
just like you were saying,
what I was driving at.
That's how we show our support. I've participated in the New York City Pride Fest the last 2 years because of brothers like John and other brothers that I know. Where I'm like, no, they have every right to live their life, and
actually,
it's basic human rights.
Worshipful Brother Alan Bunting, who is now passed, who was one of the Masons who was on my investigation committee, and I respected him a whole lot. His son was gay, and there was no, it doesn't freaking matter. It doesn't matter. Like, it really plays no part in me being a brother to you.
Right. And that's the best way you can help not just a brother, but anybody. I had a friend of mine where I was telling him that we were going to Pride Fest, and like, he just got really quiet and really appreciative. He's like, I haven't told anybody, but my son is gay. Right. I knew his son since the kid was born. Right. It was like, it just means a lot to me to know that there's people out there that are accepting of that, and the brothers feel the same way. Right. So that's how you can support them. That's how you don't have to go and march down the street with the big flag or anything, but show by your actions that you have their back and that you support them.
It's actually kind of funny, and it's related, unrelated. But you guys are all on the GroupMe app with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a particular set of friends that were here. And there was, of course, we have Jimmy's place downstairs. You guys know where I'm driving with this, right? No,
not really.
Not yet.
No,
okay.
Not yet.
It'll get there and it'll click.
Yeah.
But these particular set of friends were here. And one of the patrons down at the bar had said something that I took extreme, and this was a brother.
Yeah, it was just an ignorant
extreme offense to, and understand, don't be fooled by the baby face. I'm a tooth chipper. And it took Joe and Ken and a couple other Masons of Morningstar Lodge to talk me off the ledge of just leaving his ass in the freaking street out there. I was pissed. I was extremely pissed.
And we weren't even there. He was sending us messages on GroupMe, and we were like,
don't do it. Better get their ass down here right now.
You have to physically restrain him.
It's about to go down. But honestly, if I had a brother, and I don't, there's no, not that I know of anyway, of any members of Morningstar Lodge that are gay. But if there were, you're still my brother. So if some little slick shit kid downstairs at the bar is going to run his mouth, I'm going to lay your ass out on the sidewalk out there, because that's just who I am. And yeah, I'll get arrested. But you know what? I defended a brother. I don't care.
You will.
Yeah,
what was that from Goodfellas? Whoa. I'll dig a hole. You think it's the first hole I dug?
Yeah. A lot of holes out in that
That's
desert.
your shine box.
A lot of problems are buried in them holes.
No, but whether it's a brother or not a brother, Freemasonry has taught me, just as a man, there's certain things you just don't tolerate, and you don't tolerate hatred towards any particular person or group or sexual orientation or religion. You just don't tolerate it.
At the least, it's taught me respect.
Yeah.
And swinging back to that other
respect
topic,
those
it is a little bit off topic, but all of these things that have been going on recently.
I need a drink. I'll be back.
Okay,
Keep
go
talking,
for it.
Boris.
But, you posted all of these things earlier about all these possibly unrelated events that have been, yes, please, that have been going on with Masonic lodges around the country. Even if they are unrelated, it made me think about the fact that, there's a lot of hatred out there for things that we don't understand. And that's normal human nature, right? Like that's human psychology. If we don't understand something, we either thank you.
It was you? That's what you.
I'll take it.
What were you drinking? The other one?
Yeah, the other one. But
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
matter. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's either we try to ascribe our own viewpoint onto things that we don't understand, or we just completely disregard it or think the worst of it. And I think the individuals that are perpetrating these crimes that we've been seeing against Masonic lodges are the types that are, have a lot of anger to begin with, or a lot of hatred for things that they don't understand, or a lot of crazy going on. The rest of us have the ability to rationalize that away and say, oh, well, I don't understand what Freemasonry is all about. Let me research it.
Exactly.
Or let me go ask somebody who knows something about it, right? Instead of just going off the rails and saying, I'm going to throw a Molotov cocktail through their window because I don't get what they're about. So,
no, there's just certain things, like you just can't tolerate hatred. There's no room for it in my life. No. And I need to try to set an example for others that, you just can't tolerate that. And it's,
especially against a fraternity that believes in what we believe in. I mean, I know there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's difficult from a profane or a non-Masonic point of view to know what's real and what's not when you go and research it on the internet. But I'll tell you right now, from my own mouth as a Mason, what we're about is fraternity, charity, and belief in a higher power. Like that's what we do. That's what we're about. We're free thinkers. We get together. We have some secrets to our ritual and to our modes of recognition. But aside from that, we publish our names. You can look up who the officers of a lodge are. We're not bad people, but people still find a way to demonize that which they don't understand. And it's sad, man. It's sad that that's the way the world is.
It's sad that ignorance goes that. Yeah. That's what it brings about.
I've made the joke and I've put up the pictures on Facebook about, Marjorie 2020 and, we're all talking about voting.
I mean, I'm still going to write you in.
I'm going to write myself in.
Say what you want. I'm going to write you in.
I'm writing in Puppet George.
But honestly, and I've said it before, like if there was, and you could attribute this to Freemasonry and the topic we're talking about, but if which would never happen, but if I was ever to run for president, I wouldn't say a slanderous word about my opponent. Not one word. I just don't understand why they're so negative. You're sitting there and you're going to go on YouTube and you're going to talk about how, well, this person's bad and that person's bad and they're evil and they do this and they do that.
They don't have the same moral compass. They're not guided by the same standards.
But they're also propagating violence.
Yeah. Right.
In a way.
Yeah.
So if we're bad, and Freemasonry for the most part does not, with the exception of, a couple Freemasons in the comments section of any video will be like, this is BS. This is complete crap. But we don't ever fire back, ever. We always take the high ground.
Well, I mean, we're taught to do that.
We're taught to do that.
And yeah, there are some videos out there on the History Channel that actually talk about Freemasonry in a positive light. And they cobble together like 3 or 4 different degrees so that you can't tell what they're actually doing. And there's got to be a sensationalist aspect to it too.
Right.
But when you listen to all of the Masons that they're actually interviewing on these shows, they're telling you exactly what Freemasonry is about.
Right.
That's the truth. There is no higher level of Freemasonry to which we are not privy that's doing all the evil, virgin sacrifices and stuff. That's just not a thing.
That's because you're not at a high enough level to know.
Well, yeah.
You're not at a high enough. You need to be at 360th degree. Yeah. And there's actually a lodge on planet Sirius. You hear that one?
There's the ignorance.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
There's one on the moon, though.
There is.
There is actually one on the moon.
Yep. Tranquility Lodge. Tranquility Lodge 2000. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
No, but
I'm going to visit there.
A particular a particular YouTube video. He talked about how there's a Grand Lodge on Sirius, and you have to go through a certain amount of degrees. Star Sirius. Like,
do I have to go through a wormhole to get there? Stargate. Stargate.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we have those.
Come on.
He's right about that.
Just
kidding.
But I gotta pee. But honestly, like when you put up videos like that are you're spewing BS, but you don't realize what you're doing. Like when the Carly Franz goes on the internet to just harass every Freemason you see, right. Like you're really telling people that, and their families is what she said. They're Freemasons and their families. You said, do you know what you're doing?
Right.
Like I have kids, young kids who don't. They come up here. My two older ones come up here, but. What are you telling them to do? Harass my family? No, everybody's got different degrees of what you would consider harassment. Are you going to harass me with a knife? Are you going to throw tomato sauce at me? What are you going to do? Like you're instigating, or you're basically giving the green light to commit violence.
You're inciting violence. Absolutely.
You're going to burn down Masonic buildings? Like, are you freaking kidding me?
And the majority of people are smart enough and intelligent enough to go, yeah, even if I don't believe in this, that's not right. But then you get the extreme wings of any organization, or just the extremely uneducated, or even some of them are mentally ill and they're looking for that. Hey, if I go out and do this, I'm going to be famous. And if I go torch 5 Masonic buildings, I'm going to get my name in the paper. I'll be famous.
There's another thing I think about too. Would you agree that our Masonic fraternity is extremely tight amongst brothers?
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas I can tell you something that you wouldn't be able to tell somebody outside that is just a friend.
It's not even something that I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't even think of it.
Well, I'm railroading this in a certain direction.
Yeah, like if you told me something in confidence, one, it's in my obligation. As a Mason, it's my oath and obligation that if you tell me something in confidence, it stays in confidence. And it wouldn't even cross my mind to tell somebody, not even within the fraternity, but I wouldn't tell anybody.
Right.
You and I have told each other things. But you feel
more, true or false, you feel more comfortable telling a Mason.
Oh, absolutely.
Than you would somebody else.
I've told things to Masons I haven't even told my mother.
No. So,
no, that's true.
I've told plenty of things to Masons that I haven't told my mother.
Right. The point that I'm trying to make is, and I'll bring this back into the LGBTQ conversation. What if the lodge is that particular brother's safe haven to say, hey, I've been gay my entire life, and I've never been able to tell anybody, and this is, I need to talk to somebody about it.
Right.
Here we are.
That's the safest place you can go.
It's absolutely.
Because your secrets as a Mason, when I say secrets, everybody has personal, quote unquote, secrets. Everybody's got their own shit going on that the outside profane world doesn't know about. So you have a half smile, so I know something's coming.
You've got skeletons in your closet. I got mannequins in mine.
Nicely played. But my point being is that maybe the Masonic Lodge, being that we take an oath to each other, that maybe that is a reassuring thing. Is
if you want to keep it, if you
I can tell somebody.
Yeah.
Finally, I can get this off my chest and not be judged by it.
And not only not be judged, but have no fear of it going any further.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
No
because if you want to
whatsoever.
keep it secret at that point, we will keep it secret.
Right.
Because that is part of our obligations. If you so choose to keep what you're telling us secret, we will do that.
Right. So one of the things that I just want to quickly because I think we're pretty much wrapping it up. We're getting to the end here, right?
Yep.
Roughly. One of the things that I wanted to address, and me and Joe did, and Ken, were you? I can't remember if you were here. I never knew who the hell's here. When we did the whole where I was taking shots at YouTube videos that were spewing.
I wasn't here for that one.
Okay. One of the videos I had watched was actually it was a Catholic guy, and he had a whole
This guy that sounded like Paul McCartney a little bit.
Yeah.
No. This is a completely different video that I didn't play.
That guy did sound like Paul McCartney.
Yeah, he did. You
And
were absolutely right.
one of the things that he had said was that he was at a church thing, and he said, I'm sure there's Masons sitting here in the audience, and I'm going to tell you exactly, why you shouldn't be a Freemason and why it's this and why it's that, blah, 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 whatever. But one of the things he had said was he had said that in the Bible, it talks about how you can't serve two masters, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't serve two masters.
Right.
And he made a comment that you kneel at an altar before the worshipful master, and you're.
It's actually before God.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's the same master, but
you
whatever.
kneel before
say whatever you want.
The worshipful master. You're kneeling before a man whom you're calling the worshipful master. So, but you're not paying the worshipful master homage.
We're not
the worshipful
praying
master
to him.
is talking you through your oath to God.
Right.
Well, when
Just
you take
wanna be
anything
clear
out
on
of
that.
context, it all looks like
He had also talked
something
about
different, right?
how he was in his quote unquote church people were going around and leaving leaflets in front of lodges, and the efforts of him were there's 3 million Masons in the United States, and now they're down to 2, so we're doing the good Lord's work. Y'all need Jesus. Because Jesus said to accept everyone, love everyone as I had loved you. So I want to drop an F-bomb, but I can't.
You can't.
F you,
Not in the same sentence.
you're wrong. You're perverting it to your own thing. But I wanted to clarify that this is a particular video, and I can't find the video, but Joe is, I know, looking for y'all need Jesus soundbite.
Probably. Yeah.
But I want to clarify that. You are not
That or he's
kneeling.
looking up the lyrics to "You've Lost That Love and Feeling." Is that?
You are
You
not kneeling to another Mason ever in this lodge. You are kneeling before the altar.
There's no tenderness.
You guys are going to ruin this, aren't you?
like before.
We'll do a whole after hours if you want, where you guys can just sing your little hearts off. So,
this freaking new iOS thing. I don't know how to. I can't figure it out. I've got the video of y'all need.
it's
Jesus.
ginger proof.
How many lenses are on the back of that phone?
All right.
only the one. That's weird.
Yeah,
I thought it had like
the
3.
XR. This is not the 11.
Uh,
But they
We're,
just upgraded the iOS.
I think we're pretty much done with this one. What do you brothers think?
I think so. I think
All
it was
right.
a great episode.
Because we start singing, you want to close
wants
out
to-
the episode?
Yes, I
All
do.
Let's do it.
You're starting to.
Next Sunday, this coming Sunday.
Big show.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Big show.
Big show.
Be there.
Our district deputy will be here. Right Worshipful Brother Mike Adams will be returning, but we will have the Grand Master, and he's got jokes.
You'll pay for your seat, but you only need the edge.
Gravedigger. Bigfoot.
Oh my God.
Sunday.
So tune in. The Grand Master will be here, and I would actually encourage all of you to write down some questions, because this is a Grand Master in the house who's going to be able to answer your questions about Freemasonry and all that stuff. Basically, the first half, do like we always do, interview our guests. We're going to ask him about his Masonic career. Second half, it's all you guys. You can ask him any questions you want. He is the Grand Master of the state of Connecticut. So looking forward to it.
If he doesn't have the answers, nobody does.
Papa George does.
Yeah.
I got answers, I got jokes, and I got
The
questions.
answers are all derived from some clandy lodge somewhere.
Just when you think you got all the answers, I change the question.
All right, brothers. We say we sign off.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. For the Freemasons podcast, I'm your host, Right Worshipful Brother George. Marjorie signing off.
Worshipful Brother Joe signing off.
Worshipful Brother Ken signing off.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Why can't you play
Live
All
still,
Need Jesus?
still up and live. Good night, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it.
No tenderness. Like
Oh,
Big
Heath
boy.
Moss. Heath Moss.
No relation to Nathan Moss,
He
right?
says, no relation. Last week, I had 2 past Grandmasters confirm my 3rd degree. Really awesome experience. That is cool.
Nice.
Very nice.
You're trying hard not to show.
I'm sorry, Heath.
it.
They're so... Heath,
But
they are
baby,
so... They're so hell-bent
I know
on singing
it.
this freaking song.
You lost that love.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.